Now we are coming to this question about perceptions, experiences, satisfaction. Now, many of you all rightly said that you would use qualitative research and mixed method research. Why did you say so? Why not do a quantitative study? Anyone?
Ma'am,
Yes,
if we are using only quantitative, we are not going to get the how and why of that. Like only with scores, we will get uh, whether the perception is good or bad. But if uh, like only the number of it, but if we go into qualitative, we will also get to know the reason behind it, reasoning and their thought process behind it.
okay. Anyone else? Right? What you're saying is right, Sumana. Any other thoughts?
Ma'am, in a quantitative approach, mostly all the questions will be designed by the investigator and only those would be answered. But in a qualitative approach, some new things which are not in the questionnaire, we are able to find out.
Correct. Right. Anyone else? I'm asking you all this question because this is something which is a bit difficult to understand.
We can generate three teams from this based on the findings in case of qualitative research, which ultimately leads to further research model.
Correct. Right. Yes. So more or less all of the respondents have answered correctly. So the research question which is answered by quantitative research is different and what is answered by qualitative research is different. Now, I just share with you what I understand because books mention it in different ways, but I have tried to understand it in a very simple way that if you feel that there is a single truth out there in the world and you want to find out that single truth, quantitative method is what you should choose. If you are able to summarize that single truth in simple values, it is requiring quantitative research. But if there are multiple ways in which a phenomenon exists and there is no single way you can summarize that phenomenon, then you have to think of qualitative research is what I look at the understanding of the difference between these methodologies. So I will try and explain to you with this interesting example. What do you see on the screen?
Where there is a bound wicket, but it is a different perspective which we see, but
So
a
if
different
I am
angle of
looking,
that.
yes, so if I am looking at it quantitatively, all I am looking at is that the batsman is out, right? The question is whether the batsman is out or not. There is only one truth that the batsmen, all these batsmen, they are out. So this is simple quantitative. One truth, yes, out, right? But when I look at the qualitative aspect, now what happens? What I can see from the lens, the qualitative lens, is that one batsman is playing defensively, one batsman is shouldering or is leaving the ball, one batsman is frustrated with what has happened, another batsman is in the attacking mode and has been clean bowled. Then if I look at the stumps, somewhere I'm seeing that the ball is has just kissed the stumps, somewhere it has broken the stump. The I can just expand this, and if you look at the commentary which comes with such kind of shots, so you can think of what would the umpire be doing, what is the bowler doing, what are the other team members doing, how is the audience reacting, the commotion out there. So when all these things come into the picture and all these things is what you are interested in, that is qualitative research, right? So there is no one single truth out here. There every time somebody is clean bowled, it's a different phenomenon. There is something different. There is no single way you can summarize what has happened. So that requires qualitative research. That is great descriptive text to describe what has happened. But quantitatively, it's just a number that this is out, and this number is added to the number of people who are out in that team. So it is the numbers which we are interested in quantitative. So you have to really understand that your research question, whether it is quantitative, the answer you're looking for, is it that single truth? Is it quantitative method? Or do you think you are interested in the phenomenon and all the description which goes with it and have a deep understanding of that phenomenon or that outcome? And there is no single way you can summarize what you're looking for. Then you will have to use qualitative methods. So I just want you all to understand. Now, for example, in this question, you are thinking of perceptions, experiences. Each individual will have it differently, right? Each person will have their own story to tell. So this kind of question is going to require a qualitative approach. So do you all understand what I'm trying to tell you? Yes, Aruna?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Shahrukh. Aruna, are you with me? Monisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So again, to simplify, can I say that the average perception of the virtual deception table is so and so? The average experience of the first years? No, I won't be able to do that, right? So it really gives me a big hint that when I'm not I'm unable to do such a thing, I'm going to require qualitative research. An alternative, of course, is between the quantitative and qualitative is trying to do everything on a Likert scale and then use a non-parametric test. So this satisfaction, possibly you could say satisfaction level, and ask the person how you are greatly satisfied with virtual dissection compared to this and this, and ask them to uh, rate the sentence on a Likert scale. This is something which is possible, which is something in between, a gray area between your quantitative and qualitative. So this kind of a Likert scale will give you such responses. So anatomage is a type of a virtual dissection table. And then you have this Likert scale, and you can clearly see that as far as the benefits are considered, many are agreeing strongly, disagreeing strongly, or just agreeing. While when you ask them about replacement, majority say no, virtual dissection is not a replacement for traditional methods. So you still get a sense of the satisfaction or what are their views about the virtual dissection using a Likert scale. But this is still different from a qualitative study. So this is again the same study, the parent study which I told you. They have done a survey at the end of their crossover, and they have used the Likert scale to assess the conceptual understanding, the perception actually of the students of conceptual understanding. So they have asked students about their understanding. They have not assessed their understanding. So this is their perception on a Likert scale. And then they have compared here using an ANOVA and then post hoc analysis to find out the differences between different, because they have used multiple virtual dissection techniques, not just one tool, multiple tools with the donor category. So I will not go much here because we will be losing time. But again, this is an innovative way of actually putting up a graph and reporting your findings. This is a graph which is showing the average, the Likert scale or in the different types of dissection and comparing them using ANOVA. I just skip this. But again, I told you a purely qualitative study. Yes, this group has done a purely qualitative study on what? On teachers' perceptions, and acceptance of anatomage table. So what tools they must have used, do you think, for teachers' perception and acceptance? What tools for the qualitative study? I'm sure some of you know what qualitative study is all about.
Ma'am, they would have taken in-depth interviews.
Yes, correct. So they have used in-depth interviews and they have used focus group discussions, which were conducted in the teachers. And then the findings they have reported, as this is a taxonomic way of representing the themes. So what they have done not only the perceptions, but they have tried to find out what are the factors facilitating acceptance of virtual dissection. And the major themes they have found out is make it available, technology age, training opportunities, innovation, integration, awareness, and the drive. These are the factors which facilitate acceptance of this new technology, and they have tried to find out the barriers in terms of administrative constraints, attitudes, lack of awareness, cost constraints, electricity, installation needs, the student ratio, innovation concerns, then the cadaver-based culture, that is resistance to accept virtual dissection as the norm, training gaps, and curriculum. So here what happens, there is nothing. This appears to be grounded theory where they have grounded their themes in their results. And then this is coupled with quotes where they, in their own words, they say that people have said willpower of key stakeholders, hurdle of convincing institutional policymakers, resistance, all of which was for administrative constraints. So your in-depth interviews, your focus group discussions helps you to come up with these themes and sub-themes which you can present differently. So this kind of research question, research design is very different from a typical epidemiological quantitative study design.